FBI. You have a federal warrant for this address. Keep your hands up and follow orders. This is the FBI. We have a warrant for...
They handcuffed me and my wife out here. They wanted me to sit on the curb while they were carrying this out, something that I refused to do. They wanted my wife to sit on the curb out here, that she refused to do.
As I was coming out, this big old drone met me.
The only revolutionary organization that's done something here on the ground practically for African people is the one that's come under attack. Institution that offers a community radio station, a newspaper, a commercial kitchen, an Aquaba Hall rental space, and community office for our organizers. That was the building that has come under attack.
You need a breach? What do you need?
Need one.
I don't know.
Let's hold that with money.
Hold
Thank you.
We will build a movement of white people that says hands
Yes.
off the Uhuru movement.
They see in the African People's Socialist Party a vanguard for the struggle for the liberation of our people. They see that because not just what we do here in the United States, but because we had the temerity to do like Garvey, to do like Malcolm X, and take the struggle of black people around the world.
Uhuru, Uhuru, everybody. I want to appreciate everybody, our comrades, our supporters, our friends. My name is Mwezi Odom, and I have the honor and the responsibility as the chair of the Hands Off Uhuru, Hands Off Africa Defense Campaign. I want to thank you for being here on today, this very important and emergency meeting. I want to, just remind everybody that we are here because of this attack that you just saw right now, but because we have serious indications, very serious indications that indictments are coming very soon, within days, comrades. And I want to thank everybody who came out to our last meeting, those who have continued to come to our meetings. And we want to appreciate all the support that we have had throughout this campaign. I want to, first of all, have everybody, before we move any further, I want to ask you right now to take out your phones. You're going to see on the screen, it's going to say share, share, share right now. I want everybody to share right now in this moment. Go on social media, text your family, your friends, your coworkers, tell them to join this webinar so that, and to post and to send them to go to handsoff or tinyurl.com/handsoffmeeting. You're going to see that on our next slide. That's coming up right here. Thank you, comrade. Just want to appreciate everybody. So I'm gonna give you like 5 seconds to go ahead and do that. Let us know in the chat when you have shared so we can spread this far and wide. Uhuru. So as you know, and as we have said, we are in this historic period, comrades, and it's really important to understand that What you see here on this screen right here are what the FBI and the U.S. government have named as 4 unindicted co-conspirators. These are members of the African People's Socialist Party, members who work under the leadership of the African People's Socialist Party, and others who have been named in these bogus indictments by the U.S. government. And we have to understand that right now we are in a period right now that this counterinsurgency on July 29th just reveals the crisis of imperialism, the crisis that everybody complains about. Everybody complains about it, from the right wing to, even people who consider themselves as as we understand, as revolutionary forces. Anybody who is oppressed are dealing with this social system, and everybody is upset with the system and should be upset. And these right here are a few of the comrades who have been on the front lines fighting back and have been named as unindicted co-conspirators in these bogus charges. And we are here to fight back. We're here to defend the chairman, who we understand is the target of the US government, because we understand that every contradiction that we are experiencing is a consequence of what the chairman has continued to push, which is colonialism and the colonial powers that are attempting to maintain this fragile and weakening system on the backs of the colonized people and the oppressed peoples of the world. So we just want to, let everybody know that these are some of the faces of the attack, and we're going to talk more about that on today. It's important for us to know that these attacks on July 29th didn't just start on July 29th. We can look back at July 2nd, when 27 days before the FBI raids, we had somebody come out in broad daylight and torch the red, black, and green flag that waves proudly in front of the Uhuru House in St. Petersburg, Florida. This was one attack. Next. Then, of course, the July 29th attacks, but then on September 2022, a petition that had been circulating around that gathered more than 130,000 signatures was wiped clean from change.org. This was a petition of people who united with and agreed that they, just like we, wanted to charge Africans, charging the United States with genocide. Next slide. Then on October 31st, the unlawful arrest of an Uhuru movement member, Timba Shabanda, who was arrested on these, quote unquote, making terroristic threats, only to find out that this was just another attempt for the state to, bring somebody in and try to cause division and to neutralize, the movement and to get false information from this comrade. Next slide. Then we have on December 22nd, many of you were at that meeting when we had to call an emergency meeting to gather and rally forces for the threats of pending indictments on our unindicted co-conspirators, learning that indictments were looming and expected in early January 2023. Then in January 7th, as the party was in the Black Power Blueprint, which is, one of the many programs of the African People's Socialist Party, was in the process of purchasing this church that you see that's literally on flames, an inferno across the street from the chairman's home in the impoverished north side of St. Louis, Missouri. A building that we were in the process of purchasing to expand our programs was burned. This was clearly in arson, case. There's clues of that. It's very clear. But again, this is just another attack. And then on February 14th, how else can imperialism show its love to African people and to the African working class community by the way of the Pinellas County in St. Petersburg, Florida, who revoked a grant, a $36,000 grant that was going towards Black Power 96 radio, which they had applied for and were one of over 50 or so applicants and were the top applicants of this grant, and were just completely revoked in a private meeting that was not on the agenda, that was not announced to the public, and they voted to rescind this grant. So the Hands Off Uhuru, Hands Off Africa Defense Campaign is calling on anybody who unites with just the basic principles that you unite with the right for African people to organize, to advocate for the liberation and unification and self-determination of Africa and African people. That's what came under attack. The work that the African People's Socialist Party and our supporters, the movement, has been doing to unite African people as a globally dispersed colonized people. If you denounce the FBI and the government attacks, if you demand that the US drops the threats of all these charges, and you demand the end of surveillance and these assaults on the anti-colonial activity of the Uhuru movement and the African People's Socialist Party, you need to be a part of this campaign. You need to go and sign the petition, which lists these exact things at handsoffuhuru.org/petition right now. As the chairman says, we are not retreating, we are building. And the African people's, the African liberation struggle will be redeemed in this period in history right now through this counteroffensive right here. So we have to understand that this will change everything. And as we say, there are many ways that you can get involved, and we want to let you know how to do that. So we're going to talk to you also about what you can do. And you're going to learn more about that in tonight's meeting. But one thing that you can do right now is, if you haven't already, is go to handsoffuhuru.org, click the button that says emergency response, and sign up for the emergency response tab. Many of you are here tonight because you did that and you received that alert to be here on tonight so that we can mobilize if the US government or the FBI lays a finger on Chairman Omali Yeshitela. And they've done that through these economic sanctions that we will talk more about today. So go to handsoffuhuru.org and join the emergency response. Again, the one thing that you can do is you can donate. And we're going to talk more about what that looks like on today. We have a goal of raising $1,000. So if you haven't already, go to handsoffuhuru.org/donate. Be the first to let us know that, hey, I made my first donation, for the first time, or this is my second time, or you know what, I want to put in just a little bit more. I want to become a sustainer. Do something to show that you want to have a material foot in this game. Go to handsoffuhuru.org/donate, and we will be calling on and thanking you throughout this program. Because as we said, as the chairman has said, we are going to put the state on trial, because there is no way that those who are fighting for freedom and liberation for the people should be the ones that have to face trial. The chairman has said it, and we are behind this fully. We will put the state on trial. And what we want to show now is just, I'm going to go over a quick, very quickly through these slides to show everybody one of the programs that has come under attack. Many of the images and things that we've just talked about took place in North St. Louis, where the Black Power Blueprint exists. So these are just some of the images of some of the programs of the Black Power Blueprint that the Uhuru movement has built since they first arrived there in about 2017. So you have the Uhuru House on Aquaba Hall. This is the historic building where many of our comrades are in right now, listening to today's webinar. This is used for community, center, baby showers. It's open to the community. This is one of the, projects of the Black Power Blueprint. You will see on the next slide some before and some after photos. If you go to the website, you will see even more on the blackpowerblueprint.org, website. We also want you to see about the One Africa, One Nation Farmers Market. This gives the African working class community an opportunity to come and to engage in genuine economic development for the community, to be able to start their own businesses, to be able to sell, food and have fresh produce and bring African farmers into the process. This is one of the many programs of the Black Power Blueprint. You also see the, we want to honor and appreciate Gary Brooks. This community garden was named after him, a beautiful garden that sits right across the street from the Uhuru House, where you have community members coming to grow fresh food and flowers and just a beautiful outdoor venue. We also have, volunteer days that we do in the garden. This is all, volunteers, people in the community who want to be a part of this and who see this literally changing the face of North St. Louis. The One Africa, One Nation mural project, we want to appreciate Jamie, the artist who designed a fabulous mural, not only here, but also at our community basketball court. So here's a picture of some of the volunteers in front of the mural that Comrade Jamie painted, and it's just really, phenomenal. And on the next slide, you're going to see one of our most recent projects, the Black Power Vanguard basketball court. This was one of the last things that was built just before the FBI raids. And we want to just really salute everybody who made this possible. This mural here was also painted by Jamie, the artist, and the basketball court, where you had African children playing in the streets using bicycle hoops as, bicycle rims as their hoops, and, getting hassled and harassed by the cops. Now they have an opportunity to have an actual court, and they want to attack that. They don't, the FBI doesn't want a basketball court. They also don't want the African Independent Workforce Program, which is a program that allows African people returning from the colonial prison system with an opportunity to now not only have a place to live and not be stuck behind bars on parole for all this time, but now actually has a chance to work and find work through our African Independent Workforce Program. The colonial state does not want that. Next slide. Here is just some pictures of the before and the after of the African Independent Workforce Program. Another thing that they don't want, and actually it's important to say, on July 29th, when they attacked the home of Deputy Chair and Chairman, Deputy Chair was on her way to start this African Doula project on day one. And just to know that we finished that project, the FBI raids did not stop the relentless struggle of the movement. But here you have images of some women who not only earned their certificate to become trained doulas, but now can also start their own businesses to also, provide free doula services to African women in the community. Again, and here we have coming up something that we are building that is in the works, that we have the land, and we're going to continue to build the Uhuru Wakulea, which means freedom to nurture African Women's Health Center, also in North St. Louis. The African, people, Socialist Party and the Uhuru movement see the need, especially in St. Louis, where you have something like so many Black babies die in the first year of life to fill over 15 kindergarten classrooms. That's why this program exists. That's why we're going to build this program. But again, the FBI does not want, and the US government and the state, the colonial state, this is the entity, does not want this to happen.
2 minutes.
Thank you, comrade. We also want to just remind everybody that part of why we were attacked is, and we know the many reasons why we were attacked, right? We just laid it out right now. But one thing that they will use is to say that, is to name us as these, politically exposed persons, right? A politically exposed person are these, quote unquote, high risk clients, right? With more opportunities than ordinary nationals to gain assets through illegal means like bribe taking and money laundering. The potential risk for titles, for criminal activity makes them highly risky individuals. We understand that this attack by Regions Bank, which we're going to go into right now, one of the banks that is working with the FBI to crush our liberation struggle and to crush our right for self-determination, will use these types of tactics, right? We learned that these are the type of tactics that they will use through counterinsurgency, and to know that this Regions Bank particularly has an FBI agent at their bank. And this is, again, part of their counterinsurgency tools. Lastly, I want to just lay out right here some of the faces of region banks who are deep into this process of trying to, halt and to crush our movement. We wanted to lay out this chart to identify these individuals who are behind this attack. These are real people who are doing this. The FBI and the US government will use people to turn us against each other. And later on, we're going to talk more about them, but I want to name John Turner, who's the president and the CEO. I want to name John Bowles, who has joined the company and who actually served, with the FBI, but is now Regions Bank's international and cyber investigation, or there's another name, it's right there. And then Leroy Abrams, the head of community affairs, and as well as Akinwande Childley, who is the special assets officer. So I'm going to just conclude my presentation by introducing and to help us deeper understand why we are here today, and I want to really just appreciate this comrade, this individual, to take us further into the details about Regions Banks and to expose the US government and counterinsurgency on the movement. I have the honor of introducing Onazane Yeshitela, who serves as the deputy chair of the African People's Socialist Party and is the architect of the Black Power Blueprint, what you just saw, and really is a concrete example of theory made in practice. Uhuru, deputy chair, I just want to thank you for being here, and the floor is yours. Uhuru.
Uhuru, Comrade Mwezi, thank you for that brilliant summation. And next slide. So as you can see that the US government has imposed economic sanction on the Uhuru movement. Economic sanctions can be used as a cohesive measure for achieving particular policy goals related to trade or humanitarian violations. Economic sanctions are used as an alternative weapon instead of going to war to achieve a desired outcome. They're forcing us to go back to the mattresses. They are closing off our ability to utilize banks and government monies that are supposed to go to our community to advance investments that benefit our community. They burned the church directly across the street from our home on Redbud Avenue, We were in contract to secure this building to expand community programs. While this is evidence of arsons, no investigation is ongoing. So can you show that video, please, Lisa? So that white car is my car. It's right in front of my house and the chairman's house. Uhuru. So they have stopped APDF Facebook birthday fundraising that people did from all over the country to support the Black Power Blueprint programs. For more than a week last month, the credit card processing company Sprite rejected sustainer pledges from our Africans 1 Billion Strong donor campaign, saying that an individual owned this account instead of our organization. This was in spite of nearly relentless work by our administrator to get them to put the appropriate information into the system. This was clearly an attempt to discourage our donors, waste precious time, delay urgent needed funds, and even cut off those funds. GoFundMe held over $9,000 of contributions made to the Hands Off Uhuru campaign for more than 3 months. They refused to release those funds donated by supporters in our name with no explanation. The funds was finally released when our attorney got involved. Our nonprofit APDF received an email directly to me last week from Regions Bank stating that they wanted to discuss this relationship. The person who sent this email did not, in the most unprofessional way, as you can see, using only part of my first name, not identifying himself, his title, or clear business information. After responding, stating, I wasn't clear who this is and what relationship was he's talking about, he responded in another email saying, Ona, I am the new officer assigned to the African People's Education and Defense Fund relationship, as well as Uhuru Foods and Pies, LLC. I believe the previous officer, Denise Carney, had communicated that relationship would be transitioning to me. Well, they did not send that. We are reviewing the mature loan for APDF ending in 0193 for an extension. I'd like to schedule some time to discuss this further with you. Is there a day and time this week or next week works best for you? Regards. Next slide. So this is the African that they have put in charge of our accounts now. And Mwezi talked about him a little bit in the earlier slide. Next slide. In the same phone call conversation, Mr. Chirtry said they will not renew the mortgage loan for Uhuru Gico building in St. Louis. Our biggest project is Uhuru Gico Bakery Cafe and Commercial Kitchen, where Black Power Blueprint is fighting mass incarceration. We have purchased this building from a private owner in October 2017. This will be our national headquarters for Uhuru Foods and Pies, and also our cafe and bakery, where we will bake all of our products. We have completed the architectural plans and bakery design developed by local architect Dwayne Thompson and international bakery designer Michelle Souses also has designed this architect. So this project is a total of $1.2 million that we're going to be investing in making this happen. So we have completed the demolition that started June 13th of 2022. And we completed that in August of 2022. This would include the African Independent Workforce Program that would train African men and women coming out of the colonial prison system under the slogan, our labor, our future. They will be trained in the food production and catering industry to become their own boss. The chairman has always had the vision for the party and the African working class controlling the mise en production. In 1979, he visited Co-op Food Warehouse in Oregon and declared, someday this will be ours, and that day is near. They also demanding that we pay nearly $70,000 balance on a loan by April, which is next month. This is not a common practice. We have invested $150,000 and we're not going to let them take this away. We have a 20+ year history with Region Bank. We have seller credit, depositing hundreds of thousands of dollars with Regions, and over the years paying off several mortgages and credit lines on time, if not early. They said that Regions will be exiting this relationship by closing down all of our accounts, including our line of credit on which we owe nothing. We use this credit capacity to keep projects moving forward and take advantage of investments opportunities. They refuse to provide a reason for exiting the relationship, citing their right to do so at this time. They also said that they will be contacting Uhuru, not specifying which entity they were referring to. We expect that they will demand the full payoff of $187,000 mortgage loan in the name of Black Star Industries and Uhuru Foods and Pies for Uhuru Solidarity Center on Grava. We are not in violation of any existing mortgage contract for this property, which is scheduled to be paid off in 2036. In addition, APSC and several other movement entities have checking accounts at Regions. Next, the Pinellas County Commission revoked the grant for nearly $37,000 for the Black Power 96. These funds came from the federal government to support capital development in communities affected by COVID. We have already won this grant, and APDF was ranked 4th highest of all 55 applications submitted for these funds. These funds would enhance the ability of Black Power 96 to provide emergency services to our impoverished community in the south side of St. Petersburg and make the studio equipment accessible to our blind station manager, DJ Eddie. Black Power 96 is in the process of a second grant for these funds and is fighting to move forward to get a generator for St. Petersburg Uhuru House. The Pinellas County Commission has indicated that they will pull this grant from funding even if the foundation managing the grant approves it. And they did approve that grant today. So we're still waiting to hear from the commissioner to see what they're gonna do. Good. So we must wage a counteroffensive to defend the economic institution. It is the FBI, the state, that controls everything and set the terms for what is considered law. They do not want political and economic power in the hands of the African working class. They do not want money circulating in the Black community so that we can assume the power to control our future. They want us dependent, as they do all colonized people of the world whose land, labor, and resources fill their pockets and create wealth for their families and communities. So in this period, the chairman's motto is to seize, hold, and develop, and that's what we're going to do. So I'm going to turn it back over to Comrade Mwezi.
Uhuru. Uhuru. Hands off Uhuru.
Hands off
Africa. Uhuru, Deputy Chair. Uhuru, comrade, just really want to appreciate you for going through those slides, for just breaking it down, for not leaving anything, no stone unturned, as we said, and just really want to salute the work that, that we have built so that we can defend it. And I just want to salute your leadership. And, again, you see these attacks. I mean, it is very clear that the Uhuru movement has been doing this work and is transparent. We want the people to know, to be a part of this. This is not just for us. This is for Africa, for African people. This is for the future of anybody who wants to live in a world that is free of war and oppression. So this is just an example of the future that we can have, these programs and to be part of an organization that will fight to tooth and nail to its death, not to its death, but to the death of imperialism, to make sure that African people and all colonized people have a life that is worth living. So I just want to appreciate you, comrade, for that. And I want to just take a moment now to, honor and to introduce, Chairman of the African People's Socialist Party, Chairman Omali Eshatella. I just really want to just, have us understand that the importance of having the chairman with us with looming indictments and everything that is going on, because the chairman is here and we are in this period because he has fought for the liberation of Africa and African people here and around the world for more than 50 years, having been a member of the Student Nonviolent Coordinating Committee in the 1960s and forming the African People's Socialist Party in 1972 with the goal of completing the revolution of the 1960s, which we understand was crushed by the same counterinsurgency and state that we are facing today. He has built mass movements for reparations, holding world tribunals on reparations to African people in 1982. He led the world in making the word reparations a household word, which we hear everywhere today. He has taken the movement beyond protest. Chairman has created over 50 institutions and infrastructure for a liberated African workers' economy, including the Black Power Blueprint, like we just saw. He is the author of many books, including his most recent book, Vanguard, The Advanced Attachment of the African Revolution, and Reparations Now, which is going to hit the stores very soon. And just want to really appreciate you, Chairman, and everybody, please welcome me now and join me in joining and welcoming Chairman Omali Yeshitela. Uhuru, Chairman.
Uhuru.
Uhuru.
Uhuru. Uhuru. I want to really extend my deepest and most profound appreciation to you, Comrade Chairwoman Mwezi, for leading this extraordinarily significant and comprehensive Hands Off Uhuru, Hands Off Africa counteroffensive against the U.S. government, the colonial powers, and trying to destroy our movement. I know that this meeting was one that called on people, especially who were connected to the emergency response team. The assumption that indictments were on the immediate agenda or certainly imminent, something that made it necessary for us to try to ask you and as many people as possible to be prepared to respond to an indictment. And as you know, the indictment jailing me, jailing the people who have been spoken of as so-called non-indicted co-conspirators, the basis for this is destroy the movement. Yes. Is to keep us from making this struggle for the liberation of African people. The truth of the matter is, after everything is said and done, that freedom is illegal for Black people. And of course, that makes sense, doesn't it? I mean, if you have a system of slavery, then freedom for the slave has to be illegal. The system can't exist. And if you have a system based on colonialism, which is a foreign and alien domination of a people, where the resources of the system requires the ongoing extraordinary extraction of value from people who are locked into colonialism, then freedom cannot be legal. And so the laws of the system, like they were able to put Nat Turner on trial, who led a struggle for African people to be free, and they hanged him, they killed him. They were able to put Denmark Vesey on trial, and others who, and John Brown, who actually united with the struggle of African people to be free. They put him on trial and they found him guilty and they hanged him. So freedom is illegal for the slave, for the colonizers. There's no way to get around it. I don't care how much they dress it up. I don't care about the speeches that one heard from Thomas Jefferson, who himself was a pedophile, who owned Black people. This is the history that they don't want taught anymore in the United States classes, because it exposes the nature of this social system. So we initiated this emergency call because the banking institutions, the financial institutions of this country, the way they're using them, weaponizing them, functions in the same way that indictments would function. They want to shut down the program, shut down the struggle for freedom, shut down the actual manifestation of that struggle. And so that's why it's really important for us to call on you, everybody, because I think we have to respond to this as urgently as we would respond to the indictments, as urgently as we're going to respond to the indictments. That's extremely important. So that's necessary to say. The fact is that the government is treating the African People's Socialist Party and our movement. It's a movement, a party that has been preparing to govern. We've created what we call dual and contending power. We've been doing this work now for 50 years. And the objective, of course, is the liberation, total, absolute, unconditional, non-whimpering, begging, butt-kissing freedom. That's the thing that we've been fighting for more than 50 years. Our objective was to complete the Black Revolution of the 1960s. The revolution, the military attack on that revolution that's responsible, somebody told me, I can't see you, that Jalil Monteking, who himself was a political prisoner for many, many years, who was somebody who stood up and actually moved forward for the liberation of our people. He's one of those persons, and our objective was to complete this revolution. That the jailing of this comrade, the jailing of the political prisoners and prisoners of war from the Black Liberation Army was not going to stop this movement. And the thing is that it's really important to understand this, because they didn't just jail those comrades. They didn't just jail Jalil. They didn't just jail the Panther 21. They didn't just kill Lawrence Mann, the co-founder of the African People's Socialist Party. The entire African liberation movement was under assault, under arrest. They killed leaders up and down. They killed Malcolm. They killed Martin Luther King. They assassinated and jailed scores. We don't even know hundreds of people, how many people they killed during this period, how many people they jailed. We don't have numbers for that. And their objective was to make sure that we would never be free. All Black people wanted, all Jalil Monteking and others were fighting for was for the happiness of our people. That African people have a right to happiness, and we have a right to return of the resources that have been stolen from us, and that they've utilized to build this system of wealth for the colonizer and extreme poverty for those who are colonized. And in order to keep a colonial people in subjugation, it's absolutely necessary to utilize extreme violence every day. Every aspect of the lives of Black people is one that is filled with violence that's imposed on us directly and indirectly. And the African People's Socialist Party has been working for all this time. We are a revolutionary organization. Our objective is the total, absolute, unconditional liberation and unification of Africa and African people globally. That's what we fight for. That's what we've struggled for. That's what these programs that's under assault is about, because the objective was to prepare and to govern. We're not talking about a movement of whining, forces that are talking about Black Lives Matter, which doesn't mean anything to anybody. And now we are talking about completing this revolution. When Jalil went to prison, it was clear that the movement was against colonialism. The struggle against colonialism. When the Black Panther Party was alive, the objective was to win the capacity for self-government by African people. It was preparing to actually exercise that kind of leadership, and that's what the African People's Socialist Party has been doing. And we've learned from all of that history. We've learned from everything that's happened since then, from SNCC, the Student Nonviolent Coordinating Committee that gave birth to the Black Panther Party, with the Lowndes County Freedom Organization that we built in Lowndes County, Alabama in 1965, that used this panther that has become iconic as a symbol, that marked a whole new day, that people were no longer begging and no longer relying on the Democratic Party, set up the Black Panther Party. And this was in Alabama. This wasn't just a group of radical people that were extremists that were out there. This was community was involved in doing that. So we have been on that trajectory since that time. So I wanted to be able to say that. I wanted to be able to say that despite the fact that we recognize that this government is opposed to anything like dissent, it locks up people for dissent, et cetera, but there is a special relationship that colonized people have to this government, and have to the emergence of Europe as a self-conscious entity, Europeans as a self-conscious group of people, and the emergence of what we now know as white people. All of that came as a consequence of first of all, starting with Portugal's attack more than 600 years ago on Africa, beginning a process where all of the people who became Europeans through this process came to understand that the way to get wealth and resources was through slavery and colonialism. Colonial slavery is what has occurred. And we saw the emergence of a world economy for the first time in history. Never was a world economy until African people were kidnapped and then forcibly transferred all around the world, including North St. Louis, where I am sitting right now today. This is how this whole thing was constructed. This is why the African People's Socialist Party is so dangerous, because it's a parasitic relationship. And at the moment that the host begins to reject the parasite cannot live without having blood to suck, resources to steal, rip off from peoples around the world, a whole system based on that globally. So all of the political activity that you see happening in the world happens within this construct of a colonial mode of production. And then you have the African People's Socialist Party that's been working. Not only have we been working, but because we were free on the ground, because we organized for 50 years. We've been building this building in practice, making struggle, and also developing our theory as a concept. That's why we're African internationalists, because the revolution has to have a philosophy. It has to be based on some kind of theory. It has to say to what end. It can't just be this and that any given time, because that's spontaneity, and spontaneity is the mother of what? Opportunism. And so a movement has to be connected to a final aim in order for it to be consistent and not something that moves, that can be sold out or sells itself out and works against its own interests sometimes. I want to acknowledge quickly, because I cannot see you, and I don't know everyone's on, but somebody just made it a point to let me know that my son and dear comrade Mutulu Olugbala from Dead Prayers is on, and haven't seen or talked to you for a while, boy. And that we need to do some more of that. And also I mentioned Jalil, and someone told me Afia Nwangaza is on. She is a SNCC organizer, and you can't do better than SNCC. And she is one of the persons who participated in developing and putting forth what would become known as the Black Power position that finally erupted in 1966. I also wanted to acknowledge that Comrade Sister Belinda Parker Brown, a fierce, tireless, revolutionary Black woman in Louisiana, one of the most horrific places, one of the most horrific prisons on the planet Earth, Angola. And you know what it means. They name a prison for a place where Black people come from. And there's a statement that you can come, your freedom is in Africa, here you are, some Africa in Angola. That's the kind of thing that they've done to us. And Belinda Parker Brown has been making this battle for a long period of time. And I see people are scrambling now, trying to let me know somebody else who's on, so that I should be saying something about. And don't blame me, and blame those people who are responsible. Let me know that you're there. And they happen to know that Comrade Mutulu is my son. And they happen to know that Comrade Afia and Jalil, and Jalil and I, we do have a long existing history in terms of a relationship. African People's Socialist Party, in solving the problem of the Black Revolution in the 1960s, we created the Black is Back Coalition for Social Justice, Peace, and Reparations, because a consequence of this attack on us was the dispersal of all of the revolutionary forces. Some of them went to prison, some of them were spread all around every place, but the party, the people now have their own working class, Africans have their own working class party to solve the problems of the revolution, to pull all these forces back together. As a part of this process, they didn't just want to lock up Jalil. They didn't want to just kill Panthers and Malcolm, et cetera. They also wanted to kill ideas. They wanted to destroy philosophy. They wanted to destroy the assumption that Black people should be self-determining. So with the arrest and destruction, that was one of the first things to go, that they made war against the ideas. Now they refer to Malcolm X as a civil rights fighter, stuff like that. They take these things from us. So we built this coalition. We organized as many African groups as we could to come into a single organization, an organization of organization. We don't say that the coalition is going to make the revolution, but the coalition is going to forward the revolution. Why? Because it is now a body of people, 18 different organizations up to now, that is united around self-determination, anti-colonialism. And it was able to happen because the people had their own party, because African revolutionaries had their own party. The working class had the African People's Socialist Party. Huey P. Newton said, some of you know when he spoke, the last speeches. In fact, the last time I heard from Jalil was after Huey P. Newton spoke at the Uhuru House in Oakland, California,
And he made the statement there that you may not have the Black Panther Party, but you have the Uhuru House. He said, you may not have the Black Panther newspaper, but you have the burning spear. So they haven't done anything by crushing one organization. That's what he said. And that was true. And that the party carried out this mission, furthering the aims of the revolution, fighting against colonialism, determined that African people shall be free, not just here, because we recognize that the Black Revolution, this is one of the things that history taught us in terms of our practice, our involvement, our study, that the African Revolution had run into its limitations when fought within the borders created by the colonizers, whether those borders were in Africa, whether those borders were imposed to us, on us in what we now call America and all these other places, that this has to be an international revolution, that Africa must be free as a whole people, and that's what we're involved in. That's why they attacked us. And we're not saying that everybody has to believe what we believe in, but we are saying that that we should have the right to believe in that and to organize for the freedom of Black people. That's what we are calling on. So I wanted to make those points. And I also want to say that while we were talking about the attacks that they made on us, while we are talking about how they took $36,000 from the radio program because they didn't want Black people to be able to speak for ourselves, to tell our own stories, to unleash our culture so that people don't have to be bees and hoes and stuff like that when we communicate with them. They don't want that. They want to demean Black people. They want to humiliate Black people. They want people who don't have the ability to have access to our own brains, our own thoughts and things like that. So they take away some money from us. We have an extraordinary DJ, and we mentioned the fact that he's blind. That is important because it says something about his access to certain materials and equipment in the radio station. But this brother bad. You understand? He likes to say I'm the best blind DJ in the world. You say I don't see nothing, but I feel everything. That's DJ Eddie. And so they took this money. And with the objective of crushing us to make sure that we can't function on the one hand. But on the other hand, they're talking about indicting us for creating that radio station, for creating the economic development programs. And then they offer $10 million bounty for information that they can get from the person the Russian that they say we're supposed to be working for. They want information so that they can use that information to put us in jail on him and anybody else that he may have had a relationship with. So that's a testimony, first of all, that they ain't got no case. If they had a case, they wouldn't have to be offering the bribery. Who they gonna bribe? People on Redbud, the most economically depressed sector of the community, who they gonna bribe? People in South St. Petersburg, Florida, economically depressed situation. That's where they want to dangle some money so they can get snitches, but there ain't nothing to snitch. Everything, just go back to the same manufacturing studio program factory that you have to come up with this stuff. That's what you're going to have to do because there's nothing that you can bribe and get on us. Our objective now is to fight for the economic development, these dual power programs and democracy, because we say the highest expression of democracy is self-determination. Self-determination. That's the highest expression of democracy. And so you got a government that's against Uhuru. We say hands off Uhuru. Uhuru means freedom. Yes. Uhuru means self-determination. Uhuru means an end to colonialism. And freedom should mean freedom of speech. We should have the ability to say what we believe and freedom to think what you want to think. Freedom to be able to organize and freedom to have power over your lives so that we can determine that our children are going to have a future. I want to just say this. They're charging us with the same thing they charged W.E.B. Du Bois with in 1951. And what was Du Bois involved in? This guy was the guy who was a co-founder of the NAACP. This is the guy who actually worked with them when they were working against Garvey. So they charged him with the same thing they charged him in. What was his crime? He was involved in fighting for peace. He came in for peace. You got to remember, the 50s was the high tide of what they call Cold War struggles and things like that. And guess what was the question then? Russia was a factor, the Soviet Russia, as they called it at the time. And so they said that Du Bois did not register as a foreign agent. And so that's why they put him on trial. But you got these Jewish organizations, these Zionist organizations who work for the state of Israel. What is it, AIPAC? Being one of these outstanding entities, and they can do what they want to do. They work for the state of Israel. They don't have to sign up as some kind of foreign agent registration act, etc. But we do. but it's not going to stop this struggle. Black people are going to be free. There's no way. And that's why we have to take the stance that we take. So we're going to have to respond to the insurance companies, to the institutions. This is part of what this emergency call is about. I said the insurance companies, I'm talking about the banks, same difference. I'm talking about the banks, right? We're going to have a concerted response to that. And that's part of what we're going to be calling on you to participate in with us. We're going to fight back. They're not going to be hiding behind some bogus legal mumbo jumbo that they have in some basement stirring up all kinds of pots of nonsense, right? No, we are going to fight back, and we're going to put them on notice, and we're going to let the whole world know that these banks are collaborating with the government to deny Black people the right to have free healthcare, to have economic development in our communities, to have children, to have basketball games. They want us on welfare. They want us to be welfare slaves. And what we are saying is we're going to have our own power, and we got a right to have our own power. That's what the fight's going to be for. We're tired of working for white folks. We're tired of working for a system that bleeds us and take everything from us. And when I say white folks, I'm using this euphemism for the colonial white power of the colonial system. And Black people want white people to go get jobs and do like everybody else has to do. And go get a job, pee in the bottle, go get a job like everybody else has to do, and stop living off the blood of African people. And I know that they know that that time is here. That's why they had, when they raided the African People's Socialist Party, when they raided my house on Redbud in the Black community, they had to go to the white community to raid the white folks. There were some John Browns and Brownettes and Joanne Browns and stuff like that over there who were uniting under the leadership of the Black Revolution. They had to attack them too. We function with the solidarity movement. We're behind the lines of white power. With a solidarity movement that's functioning in 141 cities in this country, working for reparations on the agenda, working to get people to sign and retrieve the genocide convention petitions that people signed. 130,000 signatures say we unite that the United States should have to answer the question of genocide against Black people. This is international law. The United States took 40 years before they would even ratify that. This is what Paul Robeson was involved in, and various other forces in the 1950s, and that is not going to go away. Black people are going to be free. That's just the objective, and that's why we have to take a stance of a certain kind. So we know that they're coming. We know that they're here. We know that all kinds of things that are happening to us that we haven't even talked about yet, and some of which we don't even know necessarily, but they're there. And so the fight has to continue. If we fold now, if we collapse in the face of this, I'm talking about Africans who are responsible. We are our own liberators, as the Zimbabwe African National Union used to say. And I understand Comrade Jalil, has adopted that slogan. We are our own liberators on the one hand, but two, white people can become liberated too. The process of uniting, of becoming a part of the human family is to abandon the interests of this nasty colonialism and join with creating a new world where people can be free. And that's the thing that frightens them more than there's anything, the freedom of the people and the fact that they have lost control of all the white people. They don't have absolute control of white people. And that's the thing that terrorizes them. That's why they're attacking the African People's Socialist Party, African Internationalism, our movement. I just want to also really appreciate the comrade owners in the Escalate. I appreciate all these remarkable soldiers, these non-indicted co-conspirators. And comrade owners in the Escalate, young comrade Escalate Anai, she may be one of the youngest people in the party. She was a baby when she came into the party. Daddy used to be in the movement, etc. And he sent her to us. We went to get her too. And so, she is a non-indicted co-conspirator. And I just appreciate the fact that here, these are white people. They got these handcuffs on these white people. They use battering rams, knock down the doors and everything, and did all kinds of nasty things like that. And then, of course, owners in the Escalate, who everybody knows, most people know that she is my partner, my political comrade and partner, stuff like that. And so that means when they come to me, whatever else, they're coming for her too. And the thing I appreciate so much as Nick came and she didn't even flinch. And that's who we are as a party. That's who we are as a people. And they can't kill the spirit of African liberation. Thank you so much, brothers and sisters. Let's get these banks off our back. Uhuru.
Uhuru. Uhuru, fist up, fight back. Uhuru Chairman, just really want to salute your overview. You're just continuing to deepen the political analysis as we continue to see the world changing literally before our eyes, and providing us with the analysis that is needed to be able to know how to how to fight back. And how to get organized, because none of this matters if we are not organized. You can have all the unity in the world, but we have to come in together and join this fight back right now, the Hands Off Uhuru campaign, as part of waging this counterinsurgency. So I just want to really salute you, Chairman, and I just want to thank everybody and thank all of our donors who have already been donating, who already answered the call to go to handsoffuhuru.org/donate. I want to salute everybody, and we're going to take some time to thank you all so much today for your donations. And I just want to take a moment before we transition to our next part of our program, which is where everybody is going to learn what you can do, a part of this emergency response, and how you can take action. I just want to acknowledge where people are tuning in from. We have people tuning in from San Francisco, California, from Virginia, from Louisville, Kentucky, from St. Petersburg, Florida, San Diego, California, Flossmoor, Illinois, Greenville, South Carolina, Palmdale, California, Athens, Ohio, Maplewood, St. Louis, San Diego, I said that already, Newark, New Jersey, Pensacola, Florida, Chicago. We have John McCarthy. We want to appreciate you for coming on with CPI. Virginia, we have people coming from Portland, Brooklyn, Battle Creek, Michigan, Long Island, Philly, Boston, Minneapolis, the Bay Area in California, Fort Lauderdale, NYC, Ukiah, California, Ecuador, Germantown, and Athens, Ohio, and Miami, Florida. And just want to appreciate everybody for coming on wherever you are. And I want to also salute and appreciate the chairman for just acknowledging some of our forces that are already on here on this call with us. But I do want to just reiterate and say thank you again to Comrade Jalil Muntakim, who has joined us, as well as I already mentioned John McCarthy. Thank you again, Jesse Todd, Alderman Jesse Todd, Councilman Charles Barron out of New York, Sister Belinda Parker Brown with Louisiana International United International, and Sister Betty Davis. Just want to really salute all of you who we will hear from very shortly. But right now I'm going to turn it over to our comrades on the ground and on Zoom, Director Escalate Anayi. I'm also going to invite onto this next section of our program, Penny Hess, who is the chairwoman of the African People Solidarity Committee, and Chair Jesse Neville, who is the chair of the Uhuru Solidarity Movement. So Director Escalate and comrades, thank you for being here today. And I want to appreciate you all for taking us through this really important section of our program. And these are the quote unquote unindicted 4 co-conspirators, and as we know, the leaders in this fight back. So Uhuru comrades.
Uhuru Chair Mwezi, just really want to salute, first of all, your leadership of this overall campaign. And every time, we go into our meetings and we're like doing what we're doing, I'm like, we are in good hands because Chair Mwezi is on it. So I really want to salute you. And of course, I have to salute my leadership and that brilliant presentation that just makes it all clear. And what these recent attacks reveal even further, and what we've been saying, is that it has nothing to do with Russia, has everything to do with destroying the ability of Black people to be able to feed, clothe, and house ourselves on our own terms, to no longer live under the thumb of colonialism, but to be self-determining. And the African People's Socialist Party, the Uhuru movement, made that a reality. It wasn't just something they came to a table and just talked about and had brilliant discussions, but made it real, just as we saw with the programs and institutions, which are just really a fraction of what the Uhuru movement has done and what it continues to do, which is what Deputy Chair Onizanea Shatella presented. And I also want to salute the Deputy Chair. And I'm, going to help to lay out what it is that the resources that the people have in terms of when indictments come down, when and other forms of attacks happen, not to be waiting on the sidelines, anticipating it and not knowing what to do when things happen, but to arm you now, be prepared now, because we know that this government, the FBI, is moving on this organization, and we feel it's very important for all of us to be equipped in terms of how to fight back. And before I get into that, I just want to say that the other day I was making a presentation and saying, that I'm characterized as an unindicted co-conspirator. And I've seen this occur in other places too, but people want to know how they can become unindicted co-conspirators as well. And, I just think that's such a profound statement of support and unity that people have with this fight back. And they absolutely know that everything that they're accusing the Uhuru movement of is absolutely absurd. The people are clear about what this attack is, what it represents, and have taken a firm stance to say, we will not let this happen. So I just wanted to say that. And I'm going to be going through the talking points. I just want to share with everyone that is available on the Hands Off Uhuru, Hands Off Africa website. You can go to handsoffuhuru.org, and under the tab where it says take action, you can see what we are asking or calling on you to do in the face of these attacks with the economic sanctions and the overall attack with the threat of indictments over our leadership. So again, this page is going to arm you with what it is that you need to know, what you need to say, and what you need to do to participate in this fight back. So I'm going to be going over some of the talking points. And these talking points are really important because we have to be very clear about what our message is, what we want to take out to the world, what we want to say. And also it's important because their media, their idea machines, they take everything, they spin it however they want to in order to support their narrative. So our talking points are clear, keeps us on track, and again pointed to what this whole attack is really about. So our talking points are: in early March 2023, Regions Bank notified the Uhuru movement that their relationship would be terminated for accounts specifically tied to funds for programs of the Black Power Blueprint in St. Louis. The Black Power Blueprint in the impoverished community of North St. Louis is building economic development programs for the African working class community. And you can see the work of the Black Power Blueprint at blackpowerblueprint.org. There are thousands of people, including in the white community, have donated to these programs. These attacks are an attempt to intimidate and discourage this broad base of supporters and thereby starve the programs benefiting the African working class community. The Uhuru movement has over 50 economic development institutions and has an over 20-year working relationship with Regions Bank. Regions Bank is carrying out the FBI attacks on the economic fronts of the Uhuru movement and has former FBI Assistant Director of International Operations, John Bowles, as the manager of international and cyber investigation. This is a long-standing tactic of COINTELPRO and counterinsurgency used to crush economic power and self-determination for African and oppressed peoples historically. 100 years ago, Marcus Garvey was also charged with being a Russian agent, and economic attacks were made on the institutions of his movement, which won the support of over 11 million Africans from around the world. It's clear that the US government and the FBI allegations of quote unquote malign Russian influence made against the Uhuru movement are completely bogus and insulting. By implementing sanctions on the programs of the Uhuru movement, it's the same types of attacks that the US government wages on other colonized countries, such as Cuba, Venezuela, Afghanistan, and others as an attempt to starve them. What we are experiencing is domestic sanctioning, which has the same implications as arrests/indictments, attempts to derail and wipe out the movement for African liberation and self-determination. The US wants African people to only be welfare recipients and not have independent self-determination. They don't want African people to feed, clothe, and house ourselves. The US government wages counterinsurgency against peoples and countries all over the world that work for self-determination. Their leaders are assassinated and coups are waged against their governments. These same tactics have historically been carried out against the African liberation movement inside this country and around the world. The actions of the banks are as serious an attack as the threat of indictment by the FBI. So those are some of our talking points. Again, they are all available on the handsoffuhuru.org website. So we know exactly what to say, what our position is, and we know how to frame these attacks. And again, all of this you can find for yourself on our website, as well as next steps and our demands and things like that, which we're actually going to go into next with our comrades and my fellow unindicted, so-called unindicted co-conspirators, comrades Vice Chair Penny, and our fundraising committee chair and USM chair, Jesse Neville. So Uhuru, comrades.
I just really want to salute that powerful presentation by Escalate Anai. And it's really an honor to be here tonight and to be able to be under the leadership of Chairman Omali Yeshitela, who I send my most profound, just incredible unity with and salutes to, and really recognize that Chairman has fought tirelessly every single day since his whole life, but also in particular since July 29th, to turn this around and build a counter-offensive. I'm very honored also to be able to salute Deputy Chair Ona Zanea-Shatella, who has fought to build these programs, not only the ones we saw today, but the programs of the over 50 economic programs of the African People's Socialist Party that are there for political and economic power in the hands of the African working class. And I am very honored to be the chair of the African People's Solidarity Committee. We are the front of the African People's Socialist Party, as the chairman said, in the white community. That is a totally unique relationship that white people can have under the leadership of the African Revolution, which is our revolution. There's not another revolution. And we understand that there is this thing that the chairman calls the colonial mode of production. The fact that we are the colonizers, that we sit on the pedestal of the oppression of African people. And in order to be revolutionaries, in order to take this on, that we go out there under the leadership of the African People's Socialist Party, the African Revolution. And I know that our Solidarity Center on the south side of St. Louis was one of the institutions of the party that was raided very brutally. You saw some of the video earlier in this program on July 29th. And my house that I share with Comrade Kitty Riley was also raided. Like the chairman said, they took battering rams, they broke down the door, they had assault rifles, armored vehicles. And we know that the target of these raids is Chairman Omali Yeshitela. But I want to say, I am honored to be an unindicted co-conspirator. That means that being in the camp of genuine solidarity and fighting for reparations to African people under the leadership of the African Revolution. So I'm very honored to be here. I also want to salute Emerald Riley, who's on tonight. Just really saw the contribution you made also. Just want to say I have a particular salute to you, and other people, everybody else will be acknowledged. And I do want to be able to say what the demands are. And we've seen, that as has been said, these economic attacks are part of the political and military attack that has come down against the party. And as the white community, we have to take a stand as white people and say that we will stand between the state and the attacks on Chairman Omali Yeshitela and the Uhuru movement as a whole, 7 institutions. And the Uhuru movement is all around the world. And these attacks are coming down in so many different fronts and ways, as we have seen. They will do everything, like the chairman said, to try to destroy this movement, but the genie is out of the bottle, to quote Chairman Omali Yeshitela. It's too late. It's too late. And we are here tonight, and we are committed to fighting on the front that we're assigned to go out into the white community, to win just all other white people that we can, to turn over the stolen resources and pay reparations. So I just wanted to put out quickly some of the demands, because this meeting is calling on people to go to Regents Banks. We're going to talk about that a little bit more. Protest this. There are regions in 16 states of the United States, or to do a call-in, and we'll talk about that in a minute. But some of the things, we have a flyer too, and Jesse's going to talk about it, that that we have stopped the region's bank economic sanctions on the Uhuru movement, stopped the economic sanctions on the Black community. African people must be treated the same way that they treat other companies and individuals, and that means the Uhuru movement as well. End the economic sanctions on the Black community, stop region's economic attacks on the Uhuru movement, and stop the attacks by Facebook. That's another front that are denying fundraisers, like the birthday fundraisers that have been on Facebook. Again, treat the Uhuru movement and the African community the same as any other clients to this bank, and also stop Chase Bank attacks that are coming down. So I just wanted to say that, and to say unity through reparations. Uhuru.
Uhuru. All right. Well, I just want to join in saluting this incredible meeting tonight, and everybody who has tuned in and already contributed towards the fundraising effort of this meeting, which I'm excited for that section of the program when we get to hear about all of the people who have already gone to handsoffahuru.org/donated and contributed. And I also want to mention very quickly that Chairwoman Penny Hess of the African People's Solidarity Committee just talked about the Uhuru Solidarity Center, the solidarity movement that was built by the African People's Socialist Party and is led by Chairman Omali Yeshitela and the African People's Socialist Party. And we are having a national convention this weekend here in St. Louis called White People Say No to FBI War on Black Liberation, Hands Off Uhuru. And we want to invite everyone who is tuned into this meeting tonight to go to usmconvention2023.eventbrite.com and register and be here at this convention. You can tune in online. You can also join us in person. And we're very excited for the fact that in addition to Chairman Omali Yeshitela, Deputy Chair Ona Zane Yeshitela, we will also be joined in person by Director Escalate Anai of the African People's Socialist Party, who we just heard from, Chair Mwezi Odom, the leader of this campaign, and many others. So we're really excited for this convention, and this is part of the counteroffensive.
Yes.
So, and I just want to join in saluting the Chairman and Deputy Chair Ona and Chair Mwezi, Chairwoman Penny, and everybody who's been here tonight for this meeting. And what I'm going to be doing is directing your attention to handsoffuhuru.org, where if you go to, I believe it's handsoffuhuru.org/outreach. I'm just checking to make sure I'm right.
It's outreach and also under emergency response, and that'll be talked about more. But
so under outreach and under emergency response, you will find a leaflet, an 8.5 by 11 leaflet that you can print out and take with you to Regions Bank when you carry out the demonstration, the action that will be planned in your community. And I want to read what's featured on that leaflet that we will be passing out. It says, "Stop the attacks by Regions Bank and the FBI against Black self-determination. End Regions Bank's domestic economic sanctions on the Black community. Regions Bank has joined the FBI in an attack on the Uhuru movement that has worked for self-reliance and self-determination for Black people within the US for more than 50 years. The work of the Uhuru movement is based on the belief that the dignity and well-being of Black people require Black community economic development rather than charity and welfare slavery. Regions recently informed APEDF that they plan to terminate some of the accounts that have been used for donations from thousands of people for self-determination programs, such as the Black Power Blueprint in the most impoverished neighborhood of North St. Louis. Over the years, the Uhuru movement has initiated more than 50 economic development and self-determination projects, from furniture stores in Philadelphia and Oakland to outdoor markets in St. Louis and Philadelphia that provide income for vendors and their families and an ability for money to circulate within economically depressed Black communities. Why would Regions Bank allow itself to become a political tool of the FBI and the Justice Department that claims that the Uhuru movement is under the, quote, malign influence of Russia because it ran candidates for local offices in St. Petersburg, Florida, calling for reparations and Black community control of the police. Why would Regions Bank allow itself to participate in FBI efforts to destroy the Uhuru movement's work to build a Black women's health center in St. Louis, or provide jobs and training for Black men and women upon release from prison, all of which contribute to enhancing the dignity and capacity of a Black community long denied the material resources for any independent development? That's the question that this leaflet is asking, that we want posed, we want to be confronted with at Regions Banks throughout this country. The Uhuru movement includes hundreds. This is a very important point. The Uhuru movement also includes hundreds and thousands of white people who believe in Black self-determination and self-reliance, in Uhuru institutions and individual white members in more than 141 cities throughout the US. Why then does Regions Bank not work with the Uhuru movement rather than joining in this scurrilous FBI attack that claims that Black people are too backward to be able to recognize their own interests without white Russia's direction? Black people are also patrons of Regions. As
Oh,
whoa,
wow.
whoa,
Yeah, right next to the building that we're looking at. It's not the one.
whoa.
Oh, not the one, not the campus. A building on fire,
Yes.
another building on fire. Right down
Wow.
the street,
Right down the
right
street.
across the street on the other side.
So yeah, there's another building on fire right down the street, and there's footage being recorded of that now. Wow.
Uhuru. Some people on the chat are asking if comrades are okay. Sounds like.
Yes,
Good.
everyone is okay
Everybody's
here.
good here,
Yeah,
but it's,
Uhuru.
the building is right next to a building that
yeah.
we're negotiating.
Wow.
Yes.
Purchase, yeah, so.
Wow.
Did people hear that? I
Yeah,
could just-
Chairman, I don't know. Yeah, the chairman was saying that the building is right next to another building that the party was in negotiations around purchasing.
Well, we can add that to the list of attacks.
Exactly.
Yes, yes.
Yeah.
Well, I'll just close this out by saying that the call to action is to take this flyer, demonstrate at Regions Bank branches in your city, call in to John Turner, CEO of Regions Bank, 205-326-5151. You can write a letter to the Regions Financial Corporation. If you go to the website and look at the flyer, you'll see the address there, and continue to donate. handsoffuhuru.org/donate. Uhuru.
Woohoo.
Uhuru comrades, wow, just really want to appreciate and salute Director Escalate, Director of Agitation and Propaganda for the African People's Socialist Party, Chairwoman Penny Hess of the African People's Solidarity Committee, and Chair Jesse Neville of the Uhuru Solidarity Movement, the quote unquote unindicted co-conspirators who are helping us to lead this charge and to know what we need to do in order to fight back. So I want to really appreciate you, comrades, for taking us through that. And I will remind everybody again about that before we close for today. And as we move on today's program, I guess I want to again reiterate and thank everybody for just for your, for sticking with us, for your donations that are pouring in. We just want to really appreciate and salute the people. We can't wait to thank you. And I want to go ahead and just move our program to a really important section of our program, because as we talk about solidarity, and support in this fight back is very important. And these are some of the people who right immediately after the FBI attacked the African People's Socialist Party. One of, few of the many who put out the call and showed their undying support for the movement. So I want to bring up the next comrades. I'm going to invite each of our comrades who have just a brief moment of, very brief 3-minute statements, but I know will be very powerful. So I want to salute and appreciate Alderman Jesse Todd of Ward 18 in St. Louis. Alderman Jesse Todd, I just want to really appreciate you for being here. There's so much that can be said about you, and we want the people to just really know the importance of who you are on the ground in your relentless fight back. So Uhuru, comrade, and welcome.
Uhuru, Comrade Louise Odom, and Uhuru to all other comrades, as well as the listening audience. I unite with everything that the previous speakers have said, and I would just like to say that that this attack is not only on the African People's Socialist Party, this and Peter, this is an attack on all freedom-loving people, not only in America, but all over the world. This is an attack on our democratic rights as citizens who fight against colonialism. We must resist these attacks with all our resources, all our efforts. We must, as Comrade Justin Neville said, we must demonstrate against the banks, boycott. We must use Facebook and any other media that is available to exercise our democratic rights, regardless as whether it's the FBI, the banking institutions, or any other institutions that attack us. We must immediately fight back and continue doing what we're doing now, which is to inform the people and organize the people. We must raise whatever resources are necessary to beat these bogus charges. We must not let them intimidate us, but we must continue to fight to beat these bogus charges, because once we beat them here, then that will also stop them from attacking other people, because this is just an attack because of an imperialism crisis, not because we've done anything wrong, because we've done everything right, which is to raise funds and become independent and do for ourselves. And so, again, thank you, Chairwoman Luwezi, for the great job you're doing. And I want to thank everyone, all the listening audience. And so we all must do everything we can do. And we will defeat these bogus charges, and we will be free. Uhuru, comrades.
Uhuru, Uhuru. Comrade Jesse Todd, just really want to appreciate you for for your role in this fight back, particularly in this campaign as we talk about that, but just really want to appreciate you for, like, as we said, just, fighting in the lion's den, and just want to appreciate that presentation and that salute. So thank you, thank you, thank you. Next, we have Councilman Charles Barron of New York. Just want to appreciate you so much for being here, and your other half, who we know you will not deny is your other half, Sister Inez Barron, is not on screen with you, but we always feel her as well. So just want to appreciate you for being here and the work that you do, in this struggle, and have been, during that struggle of the 1960s. So salute, comrade. Thank you.
Uhuru comrades, and they don't know who they're messing with.
No.
They're messing with the children of Shaka Zulu. They're messing with the children of Queen Nzinga. They're messing with the Maroons. And we will fight back and we will win. So I want to bring you greetings from New York. The Big Apple, as I always say, never gave us a bite. We're still fighting. But I want to bring you greetings also from Operation Power. Tonight we were going to donate $500, but we decided to double it to 1,000. The more they hit, we're going to hit back harder, and more money to come. So just in terms of my friend and my comrade in struggle, and our friends and comrade in struggle, Sister Ona and Brother Omali Yesatella, that, we're with you 1,000%. And, this is a sign of a time that they're desperate and they're losing. They do these desperate things because they're losing. They're losing all over the world. And we're not in an isolated situation. They're losing all over the world. We're winning this struggle. It is only a matter of time. They're not going to commit suicide. They're not going to just give it up. So we have to take it. And that's what we're in the process of doing in New York City. And we unite with all the efforts by the African People's Socialist Party and all the comrades there. And just remember, when they come for Uhuru in the morning, they're coming for us in the afternoon, and they're coming for you at night. So on that basis, we must all unite. Uhuru comrades, we're gonna win. We're winning in the streets. We're going to beat them in the court like Afeni Shakur did with the Panther 21, beat them in their own courts. And the same thing is going to happen in this movement. Right on to my comrade Jalil. We fought hard to have Jalil liberated, and also Seth Hayes, who made his transition, and Herman Bell. Also in New York, we had them live in Praseku, Odinga. We have a great relationship with all of them. So Uhuru comrades, we will win forward ever.
Yes, or the sky's the limit. And just want to really appreciate you, Councilman Charles Barron, and and the power behind Operation Power and all the others that you mentioned that, we're not, backing down, and we're bringing the whole people, as we say, unite the many, or unite the many to defeat the few. And that's what's going to happen. So thank you so much for that statement, comrade, and just, sending our love to everyone on the ground. And we hope to see you soon in New York. I know we will be out there soon enough. So Uhuru. Next, I want to just appreciate and bring up Sister Betty Davis. There is not enough words to describe Sister Betty Davis, but I do want to say that Sister Betty Davis is an adjunct professor at Edgar's College. She is also the founder of New Abolitionist Movement, and just a long-time activist and supporter, and in community control of education. Sister Betty Davis, you have an opportunity to also speak, and we want to appreciate you for being here. So thank you so much, Comrade Uhuru.
Well, first of all, I want to say it was an honor serving at Medgar Evers, but I am now retired. However, this is about a struggle for survival. There was once a movie called, I think it was called Lord of the Flies, and it showed the disintegration into barbarism of the capitalists. That's how I saw the movie. And we are living through that again. They're losing in the Ukraine, and they're going to lose in Africa. And we've got this Blackness leadership class, and this official of this bank is a representative of that Blackness leadership class. And we must call them out, and we must defeat them, because they are serving as tools of the capitalists. That's number one. Number two, the very fact that all of you showed up for this Zoom webinar tonight shows that there is resistance. And as long as there is resistance, there is a chance of freedom. And I want to reinforce what Charles Barron said. This is not just a question of the African People's Socialist Party. I always like that Comrade Lisa Davis says, touch one, touch all. What's happening in Cop City in Georgia is going to be Cop City all over America if we don't stand up and fight against anybody that's touched, because they represent us. And anyone who stands for liberation and freedom represents us. And when you think about what the crime is that these people have committed, they had the nerve to try to have healthcare, food co-ops, housing, and to teach people the reality of their history and to help them change that history. So as someone who's into education, Paulo Freire said, you must read your world. And if you're reading your world, you are joining and fighting to protect and defend the African People's Socialist Party. And I thank you for the opportunity to speak. We have a broadcast tonight. We've got some of the members of Co-op City calling in. Some of our Jericho comrades in Boston have been arrested and charged as terrorists. And they're currently the new COINTELPRO. And Chairman Yeshitela was one of the first to jump on this issue of what is the COINTELPRO? Who are the new ones? Who are the new Black identity extremists? And we see who they are. And we commend him for his valiant fight. And we are so proud of you for the way you did not take one step back. And we have your back. Thank you for the opportunity to speak. Brooklyn's in the house, and we're going to keep on keeping on. Thank you. Take care of yourselves and stay strong.
Yes, right on, Sister Betty. Just want to, yes, touch one, touch all. Brooklyn is in the house, and everybody's got your back, Chairman. That is something that that I just wanted to say. Sister Betty Davis, if you want to put the link in the chat to your program, which I do encourage everybody to check in, please do that as well. Thank you for your statement. And I look forward to now welcoming on Sister Belinda Parker Brown. Sister Belinda Parker Brown is an educator, a researcher, specialist, just an all-around bad woman. And just want to say that she is also the founder of the Louisiana United International, and just does really amazing work. And what the chairman said, just, you know, looking at Louisiana in particular, Sister Belinda Parker Brown is a fighter, and only a fighter can, you know, carry on work like that. So I want to appreciate you, and it's good to see you, Sister Belinda Parker Brown, and we want to give you the floor. Uhuru.
Uhuru, my sister Uwezi. All right. This is a dynamic. Wow, I'm so excited about this emergency call for the support and Hands Off the Uhuru movement and the African Socialist Party, and for such a time as this. You know, I just want to say that, you know, before, everybody that's listening, you know, I'm here to expose. I just talked with one of my chief executives on our legal defense team, and he was just telling me that Regions Bank works very closely with all of the divisions of the U.S. Department of Justice. It's almost like a quasi-government agency. And, you know, we're here to expose that because, you know, a lot of times we don't know who we're dealing with. And this is, you know, this is how these people set their traps, you know, to snatch the rug out from up under us when we're advancing. And I want to say that we are winning. I agree with all of my comrades that's saying we are winning. That's the reason why they're shaking in their boots. You know, this is the right time and the right attack. And most importantly, the right people. This time they got it right because they messing with people that's going to fight back. You know, we as Black people in America, you know, we've been up, we've been down, we've been all, you know, running around on the merry-go-round. But now we're fed up and we're saying enough is enough and we're not going to take it no more. So we know that the attack by the FBI on Black people that's advancing, that is for reparation and freedom and liberty and self-sustainability for Black people here in the United States, we're saying this is our time. And we're not going to take the attack that you bringing against us this time. You did it to all of our forefathers all the way back, you know, 100 years ago. But we're saying that right now in this 21st century, that Black people are fed up with these type of attacks, and we're going to fight back to the very end, and we're going to expose you and what you have done and what you're trying to do, and you're not going to get away with it. So I hope you're listening. You can run and tell that. So I appreciate everyone that have, you know, stood up in this fight, because we're saying we're not crying anymore. We're not whining. We're not begging. We're not going to ask you for your handouts. We're not coming to you for permission on what we can we do this? Can we do that? No more. We're demanding our freedom, our liberation, and our self-sustainability right here, right now in the United States of America. Thank you.
Whew. Yes. Uhuru. Touch so, one.
Bring it.
Touch, oh yeah, bring it. Just touch one of us and we're gonna bring it, and you bring it. Sister Belinda Parker Brown, just want to really salute you and thank you for that powerful, powerful statement. And I'm sure they heard you, but if they didn't, we're gonna make sure that they hear us. So I just wanted to say that. Thank you so much, Uhuru. Just really bringing the fire as always. So comrades, this takes us to a point in our program where we get to just really appreciate everybody so far, you know, who has been here with us. But before I go any further, I just want to take a moment to just salute this powerful program. I want to appreciate the powerful presentation by Deputy Chair Onezune Yeshatela. I want to appreciate the chairman's powerful overview. I want to thank our comrades, Director Escalate, Chairwoman Penny, and Chair Jesse for taking us through the what to do and the emergency response, and our supporters. I want to appreciate comrades Jesse Todd, Charles Barron, Betty Davis, and Sister Belinda Parker Brown, who you just heard from. And now it's time to thank you, our donors. You know, we would not be in this place right now if it weren't for the relentless, struggle to show material support, which is our donors. So right now, this is and we're going to have a slideshow that's going to be popping up very soon. But I wanted to say that this is the part of the program where every attendee, has the opportunity to participate. And I want to salute and appreciate those who have so far. So I want to take a moment to invite up with me, Comrade Sister Lisa Davis, who is, who is an aspiring unindicted co-conspirator, as we say.
I'm trying.
Trying, who's going to be leading today's appeal with me. So Sister Lisa Davis, I want to appreciate you for being here. And, we have a commitment today, right? We put out a goal for how much we wanted to raise for today. We said that we had a goal of raising $1,000 for today. And it's been clear that we need to increase that to a lot more than that, because we are already at, in terms of our donations, we have already raised, and wait, hold on, can I say that just yet? Yes, I can. I can just give us a hint of where we are right now, because it's important for everybody to know that we have raised so far $3,225 for tonight's webinar. So we have tripled our original goal for tonight's webinar. So it's only clear that we should raise this. I don't know about you, Comrade Lisa, but I think we should increase our goal to 4,000, which only gives us about $775 left to raise. What do you think, Comrade?
Let me tell you something, because I have to laugh when they ask me to call for resources, because I think I'm like not the best with it, but I got a loud mouth. But I'm like, I'm doing great tonight. I didn't have to come on.
Right. Just your presence brought something. Exactly.
Resources, that's the goal that I helped. That, we broke the goal. So I know we can get to 4,000. Yes, we can.
Right on, Comrade. Yes, we can. And if you want to help us get to 4,000, you can start right now by going to handsoffuhuru.org/donate. I know that, first thing we want to do is just take a moment to acknowledge our donors. And before we move into that, I want to also acknowledge our donors from, there we go. Thank you, Comrade. I want to acknowledge our donors from our last webinar. I want to acknowledge our comrades from APSP Europe. Really want to appreciate those comrades who made a donation, to this campaign, who are really struggling. As we know, this fight is international. We have Hands Off Uhuru fronts all over, which are variations and, are reflections of the work of the African People's Socialist Party, the organization that has built internationally. So I want to appreciate those comrades. And I do also want to thank and reiterate what Chairman was saying, just appreciate Comrade M1 for being here. Comrade Matulu, if you are still here, we want to appreciate you for even promoting this event for tonight to get people to this meeting. So thank you so much. Next slide. So again, it's important to know that with your donation so far, we have already raised, well, before coming to the event, we had raised $164,385. I know we have surpassed that already just from the donations coming in today. Next slide. You will see here that on our website, we have we have a new goal now. This slide wasn't updated in time because we just couldn't keep up with all the donations, but you will see on our website, continue to see how we are building, how we are raising and reaching our goal. So next slide. Again, I wanted to thank our previous donors for this event. And I think that might be, that's fine. There we go. Thank you, Comrade. Again, thank you everybody who has donated. And I'm going to turn it over to Comrade Lisa, who's going to just announce some of the give backs that you get when you donate. So when you go to handsoffuhuru.org, you will know what you will get. Uhuru, Comrade.
Oh, yes, Uhuru. Let me just, I got a little script here. So everyone who gives over $1,000, you will be receiving a Hands Off Uhuru t-shirt, like the one, sort of like the one I got on. You should want this. It's great. It's beautiful. You will be receiving a Hands Off t-shirt. And if you give $5,000, you'll get a sweatshirt. Yes. And we will be sending thank you cards and stickers to everyone who donates, regardless of what amount. So please make sure that when you donate, that you fill out the forms and the forms linked in the thank you email so that we can also have your mailing address. And if you have already donated, we are now putting that link in the chat so that you can fill out the form. Let me put this in the chat right now. I think I can do that from here.
And our chat moderators got you too, Comrade.
Okay, great. So we can do this. And I just want to start giving some shout outs to some people who have donated. And let me tell you something. the chat was going ever since we began. People, as soon as this program started, people began donating. So we want to thank everybody so much. Every amount that you have donated, and even your time. I know people are on budgets and everything. So any effort that you donate, that you commit, is so appreciated. So we're going to start out with Brother Sayero, $30, Penny Hess, $50, Leah Bethal, $100, Michael Sanito, 50. And if I mispronounce any of your names, I apologize. John McCarthy, 20. Emrit, 10. Nancy Strickland, 20. Matum, 25. Ann, 200. Allison, 100. Emerald, 200. Johan, 30. Anthony, 10. Fall Feet, 50. Ruth, 50. Kitty Riley, 50. Ruby, 100. Melanie J, 20. Anonymous donator, $5. Stephanie, 100. Charles and Inez Barons, the Barons are in the house, 1,000. Michael, 50. Stephanie, 100. Angelica, 500. Belinda Parker Brown, my sister, 50. A guest, $20. Brother Rondé, 100. Nathan, 50. Myself, I could do 10 for tonight, and I'm so proud of that 10 because that came hard. MQ, 25. Lauren, 50. Kara, 50. And that brings the total to 3,225. We got 775 more to go. We have 110 participants in the chat room. And if people are watching on Facebook, you can also, put in the comments what you want to donate. We know we can get this, people. We can get it. There's no better way to make them to use them dead presidents than for the African liberation struggle. Make them turn over in their graves.
Yes.
Use it for Black liberation and the liberation of all of our people. And also, I just want to just give a couple of more shout outs.
Yes, I was going to say there's some more coming in, comrade, because what did you just give? 3,000. I think we had at 75, and we just had a few more donations come in. I don't know if you see them on that sheet that you're looking at. I just saw them pop up. So I want to just appreciate Joseph for your $20 donation. I want to appreciate Ember for your $5 donation, Neindu for your $20 donation, and just everybody who Sister Lisa just, named right now. Just salute and appreciate everybody. So that takes us to a new total now, Sister Lisa, at $3,270. You know what? I think I'm just going to add $30 to that to just make it a even $3,330, which would only take us, what was that mean now?
700, I think.
We had $700 left to go for us to reach our new goal of $4,000 for tonight. So I want to just take a moment and Sister Lisa, I know there's a few things that you also want to share, as we move to the next slide. So I'll turn that over to you for just a moment too. Uhuru.
Okay. People, again, we so appreciate everything that everybody is doing. We must get this legal defense fund going. It is a counter-offensive program. We're letting them know we're putting you on trial. We're putting the state, the unscrupulous, scurrilous, rotten state on trial. And so $277,500 is urgently needed. And so we thank everybody for participating. We want to call on you. We are each other's fight back. We are we are the answers we have been looking for. It has always been us. As a Black person, I'm very aware the only reason I am still alive in this country today is because of the resistance of my ancestors and all those who came before us. And Chairman Omali Yeshitela is continuing that resistance, and we're gonna win it. We have always been who we have been. We have always been the answers we have been looking for. And I just want to just give a couple of shout outs. I see somebody in the chat who is working with Stop Cop City. If you're not aware of that, please look into what is going on in Atlanta. One of an activist has already been killed. They're charging them with horrific charges, terrorism and all of that for protesting. And so I just want to recognize them, and also to just say, since I do see that we got some New Yorkers in the house and some New Jerseyans in the house, on the 25th of this month, We are going to be holding another protest in front of the federal building in Newark, New Jersey at 12 o'clock. So please make sure you reach out to me. We are going to be continuing those protests, and we are going to be talking about these issues like Operation Stop Cop City, the attack on the Uhuru movement, and so many other unscrupulous things that are going on, which just goes right along with their nonstop police brutality. And so, do we have any more pledges that have come in?
Yes, we do, Sister Belinda. Sister Belinda, well, that's your other half. I know that for sure, Sister Lisa. And I just want to just kind of, before we move on throughout this section, and we thank some new donations that have just come in, I just want to, reiterate the reason why we have to raise these resources. As you can see right there on the screen, right? We have to be able to raise the legal fees to be able to pay for legal representation should indictments come down and should we go to trial. We have a goal of raising $277,000, $277,500, as you see right there, which is, as we said, urgently needed in order for us to secure the legal representation for the chairman and the unindicted 4 co-conspirators. So this is why we are raising these resources. As we know, the state wants us to divert all of our resources towards this. So we want to just appreciate the people for this fight back and for the ability for us to raise these resources. So I just want to thank a few more donors before we move on to the next slide. But I want to just thank Brendan for your $20 donation, Maureen for your $50 donation, and a $200 donation from Chairman and Deputy Chair. Salute and thank you so much, comrades. This takes us to right now we are at $3,570. And I do want to just also again reiterate and acknowledge Councilman Charles Barron and Inez Barron for your doubling your donation and your pledge for tonight as well, comrades. Thank you so much. So we're gonna move on to our next slide and just really take a moment to, Sister Lisa will take us through a moment to just kind of talk a little bit about why, again, it's not $1,000, but why we are reaching towards this $4,000 goal, which we are only $335 away from. Uhuru.
As we can see, the state is hell bent on using every ruthless tactic that they have, and they got loads of them, and we have to fight back. So you can go to handsoffuhuru.org/donate. We need, what do we need? We need I'm so bad with adding. We need about how much?
Yeah, we have, right now we are $335 away from our goal, comrade.
$335. Now let's look at it like this. There are 100 people in the chat. And I know that of those 100 people, you all have already given so much. And I know that it might be hard for others, but if people could give $5, that would get us there, I think. That would get us close. So whatever you can give, please, brothers and sisters, and everything that you do is so important. And also, please make sure that you are on our mailing list. Please make sure that you follow the Uhuru movement, that you follow our Facebook pages, Hands Off Uhuru on Facebook. Omali Taught Me, another organization within the Uhuru movement is the Black is Back Coalition. And within these organizations, within these coalitions are also other organizations. We should be supporting each other. This is about the work of the Uhuru movement. And I will have to say this. It is the leadership and the vision of Chairman Omali Yeshitela and all those who do so much work behind the scenes that has brought all these organizations together in a way like that hasn't really been done before or as effectively. And we appreciate the work that all of our comrades are doing in the struggle. But he was specifically targeted and attacked. And we've got global outreach and the potential to build even bigger and better, which is what we must do. It's so important. But this is the handsoffuhuru.org. We must have the right to resist. Everybody has the right to stand up and to resist, and especially against an unjust government. We must do that. If we can't do that, then nobody will be able to do it. And we know that the United States doesn't want anybody to be able to do it. We know that. So this also provides us the opportunity to expose this country, this government, in ways that we might not have been able to do so effectively before. So again, everybody, thank you so much. And your time is also appreciated. Your time is so appreciated.
And you know what, comrade, I think, you know, the people heard your call. I just want to really salute and appreciate you, comrade, Sister Lisa Davis, because we have some new donations that have come in, and we are now $150 away from our goal. So I have to salute and appreciate Diane for your $25 donation, Nicole for your $20 donation, Uhuru Nicole, and Mwita for your $50 donation. Thank you. Thank you, Raya, for your $25 donation, Bakari for your $20 donation, Hayden, your $100 donation, Shabaka, $120. Thank you so much. And Lisa, for your $20 donation.
I'll put in another 10.
All right, and another 10 from the other Lisa. So Uhuru, comrades, and wow,
Uhuru, 1 minute.
Thank you so much, comrade. I'm gonna just, you know, take this moment to just close us out and just really appreciate everything, because this is just a really powerful statement made by the people to say that, you know, we will not back down. As we said, a legal team has been assembled for the chairman and the other, you know, Uhuru movement leaders, which were targeted by the FBI, and these funds will pay for these, for retaining those lawyers who will represent the chairman and the movement post-indictment, so that they will be prepared to go to trial and fight and win. So again, we are here today to say that the FBI will not succeed, and the party is moving forward with the programs of building the Black Power Blueprint, building the African Revolution worldwide. And our commitment is that not one penny should have to go towards building the capacity for African people to feed, clothe, and house ourselves, should be spent elsewhere, anywhere else. So we, the people, are continuing to fund this legal fight back. And with every dollar that you have donated to the Uhuru Legal Defense, you are putting your handprint on victory that will go down in history, and you will be a part of it, and you have been a part of it, and we will win because of you. So I just want to appreciate everybody. And
they can go get the shirts. They can go merchandise. Look at the shirts. Get the shirts.
Hey.
Models.
Yeah, you know, go ahead and get your Hands Off Uhuru gear, get your swag. We're going to show you how to do that later on in the program, because I mean, you know, you got to look good, you know, while you're doing it. But we just got to appreciate the comrades. And that's why we say hands off Uhuru, hands off Africa, hands off Africa, hands off African people, and hands off Africa's future. Sister Lisa Davis, thank you so much. And Uhuru. Uhuru, go to handsoffuhuru.org/donate. And we are I have one last announcement of our total, because we have now raised $4,020. So Uhuru to the people, Uhuru to everyone. I cannot move forward without just thanking Dr. Michelle and Baba Steve for your $50 pledge. Thank you so much. We also have another $100 donation and two $10 donations that are coming in right now, and we're going to get your names. Thank you, Dolores. And that other one was from you, Sister Lisa Davis. And thank you, Fofeed, for your $10 donation. So Uhuru comrades, this is just so powerful. Continue to donate, continue to support this fight back by your presence, by any means necessary. So Uhuru, and it's up to me now, because we're moving. I was going to turn that over to somebody, but it's me now. We're going to take this moment to just go through our announcements for today. And actually, before we go, I just wanted to also appreciate another comrade who was on this call, and Comrade Benjamin Prado, who is of Unión del Barrio, you know, who organizes here with us on the ground, and just really want to salute the comrades of Unión for, you know, who were one of the first, you know, of many organizations that told us that they will have an emergency, you know, that they have initiated their own emergency response plan in just in case of indictments. And so I just really want to salute Comrade Benjamin, Comrade Ron Gochez, and all the comrades from Unión on the ground, and the historic relationship that they have had with APSP for over, you know, for over 40 years. I also want to appreciate Ingrid Hill as well. Thank you for coming on. And there are also some donations that have come in on YouTube and on YouTube as well. So when I get that information, we'll be sure to either thank you at our next webinar, but thank you so much for your donation. So the announcements are here, and I'm going to lead us through our announcements. So we're going to start with the first here is telling you to do exactly what we were told today, go to handsoffuhuru.org. Click the Take Action tab. You will see a link to the talking points. You will also see a way to download all of our outreach materials, from our posters to everything that you will need for this fight back on the ground. You will also see the flyer that Comrade Chair Jesse was reading earlier. So go there, print these off, read these, study these. These particular talking points are about this economic fight back as well. So thank you for that. You can do that at handsoffuhuru.org. Next, please follow us on social media @ Hands Off Uhuru. You can find us on Facebook, on Twitter, on Instagram, and on TikTok. We also want to let you know that on Friday, March 10th, there will be a Hands Off Uhuru, Hands Off Africa volunteer orientation. So, you know, the people are very clear that this is not right, that we need to fight back, but we want you to know that there is still a lot of work to do, and there is a role for everybody in this fight back. So if you can't stand the FBI attacking our community, your community, and the organizations that work to uplift the community, then join us on March 10th. Go to tinyurl.com/HOUNU, and this is how you can join our orientation. Next slide. On this date has actually changed. It's actually March 21st. So don't look at that. Just go to the next slide and I'll show you how else you can find that one. But this is an event that's coming up commemorating the African martyr. We want to appreciate our comrades from the International Organizing Committee from the Hands Off Uhuru, who will be talking about the importance from Cameroon to IET. Chairman will be on this as well as a really profound list and panelists of speakers. Thank you, Comrade. I see you making the changes now. So thank you so much. This event will be updated, but this is on March 22nd on a Tuesday, and you'll get more information about this coming up soon. This one will be in French, so you will have to go to tinyurl.com that we will put up for you later. So I'll stop talking about that because we do have another event that's coming up this Sunday. As Chair Jesse mentioned, that the Uhuru Solidarity Movement has their convention that is coming up this Saturday through Sunday, and we want to appreciate and really salute everybody who has made it out and will be there. And you can come to this very special webinar, special event, and fundraiser for the Hands Off Uhuru Legal Defense. This will be hosted by the International People's Democratic Uhuru Movement, also known as IMPEDUM, where you can meet the attorneys who are representing Chairman Amalia Shatella and the other Uhuru Movement leaders who were targeted by the FBI. Learn how you can support this fight back. So you can register by going to tinyurl.com/meet-the-lawyers. So please do that. And for all anybody who heard the call to get your Uhuru swag, you can do that too. You can go to handsoffuhuru.org/shop. There's a picture right there with some of our comrades on the ground, as well as Chairman and his son, Mutulu, standing strong with the Hands Off Uhuru shirt. We want to appreciate Comrades Timba and Comrade Matum as well for your photos. And lastly, go to handsoffuhuru.org/events for all your events, for all the ways to stay connected with this fight back. Thank you those who went there to be here on today. And that concludes our announcements. So I want to just go ahead and turn it over to the chairman. Appreciate everybody for your donations. And I just want to say that we had a few more donations that have come in. So Chairman, as you're coming up, I want to just give our grand total for today. We raised a total of $4,315 on today's webinar. I cannot move on without appreciating King for your contribution that you will give. I hear you say that you want to contribute, but you're going to use a different method. So we're going to just appreciate you right now. Thank you, Janet, for your $150 donation. Paul, $25 donation. Karen, $20, Bakra, $20, another anonymous donor for $20, Makeda, $40, and Wandalin for your $20 donation. So that takes us to, again, $4,315 towards this legal fund that is urgently needed. Thank you so much, everybody. Uhuru Chairman, thank you so much. Uhuru.
Uhuru. I just want to express my appreciation to you, Comrade Chairwoman Mwezi, and to everybody who has participated in making this meeting happen and making it successful. The the four unindicted, the other three other unindicted co-conspirators. And the fact is that it's our responsibility as African people and other people who really believe in justice and freedom to at least become unindicted co-conspirators. The fact is freedom is illegal in this country. And so we should be on the front line fighting for freedom. And that is the thing that puts you in this targeted list by colonial power. But the point is then the reason that they can achieve some relative success of some time is because there are too few people who are willing to come to the front lines. And what they have now is a very serious problem of more and more people moving in the direction of freedom that is illegal. And so I think it's important. And this is such a different moment. People make the reference to COINTELPRO, the counterintelligence program of the 1960s, that assassinated, murdered, locked up. We don't even know how many people went to prison. We don't even know how many people were killed. If you were a member of the Black Panther Party, you might have made the Black Panther Party newspaper, or you may have made a local newspaper if you were not connected, but there was no general recognition of the numbers of people who were killed. How many people did they kill? How many people did they? We don't know. So the thing about the 60s, though, is that they never announced, the government never announced that this is what we're doing. They never said that we are rounding up and destroying, even though we had suggestions coming from heads of government, like J. Edgar Hoover in 1969 declared that the Black Panther Party was the greatest threat to the internal security of this country. That happened. But the coordinated program that was directed at us was not generally recognized to be the case. But this time we do know. They said it. They said 5 o'clock in the morning using loudspeakers and grenades, waking up everybody, putting tanks in the middle of communities, courting them down. People had to show ID to come in and out of their own communities that early in the morning. We know it. They told us this is what they're doing. And so there doesn't have to be a stretch of the imagination for you and for people who you'll be talking about, whether it happened or not. You can even go and Google it up and bring it up for people to see the news reports of this attack that was made. Millions of people have seen it by now anyway. So that's something that gives us an opportunity to really wage this fight back. One. Two, the other thing that this movement does, it gives everybody an opportunity, just supporting this campaign, just uniting in the ways that's been suggested to you, not even having to put life and limb and liberty on the line if that's not something you're willing to do, but you've become a part of the movement by supporting this campaign, because this campaign is not against me. I'm 81 years old. If they wanted to, they can simply wait a couple of years and I'd be gone. That's not what it's about. It's not just about these four people here. It's not just about this party. It's about the fact that we lead a movement for the liberation of our people. It's designed to keep Black people from becoming free. And the way things are unfolding in the world today, it's becoming clear that we all share the same planet, and that there are tyrants and terrible forces that are determined to destroy this planet, to destroy the entire planet. Colonialism is an assault on the entire planet Earth. So we have a chance now. And we used to say that the Black Revolution of the 60s was the dress rehearsal, that now this is the real McCoy. It's showtime, so to speak. And everybody has an opportunity to play a role in this process. And the African People's Socialist Party has given everybody an opportunity to do it. And by which I mean that this understanding that we have about a colonial mode of production being the thing that locks us into this relationship between parasites and host, and that there's a consciousness that can come about and is coming about more and more among colonizers, that they don't want to be colonizers no more, that they don't want to suffer the implications and history, continuing bloodsuckers on the rest of the people on the planet Earth. And some people are making a choice. We've given them a place they can go to make that choice. So I just wanted to say that this is a call, this work is a call to join the liberation movement we have a responsibility and an ability to turn this attack on the African People's Socialist Party, as has been characterized, into an advantage for the movement. And that's what we have to be able to do. I'm in St. Louis right now, and it's really interesting because we had Jesse Todd, who is an alderman for the 18th Ward here in St. Louis. He's been an extraordinary force since we've been here, one of the incredible forces, and in a way similar to what Charles Barron and Inez Barron and people like that have done in political life as elected officials. And there's a mayor here in St. Louis. There's a mayor in St. Petersburg, Florida. And these are African mayors. And they are talking about, they're initiating what they call a reparations program of some sort or another. But Jesse Todd, an alderperson, tried to go to the board of alderpersons with a resolution declaring that St. Louis would be determined as a Dred Scott refugee sanctuary city, declaring that the board of alderpersons resolved that the local police department would not work with the FBI, would not work with any other federal organization that was attacking Black people, Black individuals, or the struggle for African liberation. Todd took that to the board of alderpersons and tried to get the board to vote on that so that the police would not cooperate. And of course, what happened is that he couldn't even get it out of committee. They were very treacherous, and Africans played a leading role in keeping him from getting this out of committee. And yet we have a situation where the African People's Socialist Party is being attacked in part because we initiated the campaign for reparations. We, the African People's Socialist Party, we are responsible for reparations having become a household word. We are the ones who held in 1982 the first reparations tribunal that's ever happened in history for Black people. And we held it for 12 years subsequent to that. And we were organizing, and we organized the first mass organization for reparations in history. We ran the first candidates for office on a reparations platform in history. We preceded people like Kamala Harris and others who were saying that they want to talk about reparations. We preceded that. We made it possible for them to do that. And here we have a mayor in St. Petersburg, Florida, and in St. Louis, Missouri, who talked about they having some kind of reparations program, but will participate with the federal government for attacking us because we put reparations on the agenda. And Charles Barron, who was here before, city council person, he's taken a resolution to the New York City Council that's calling for the same thing, a sanctuary city, that the city police will refuse to participate with any federal government agencies to attack Black people who are working for our struggle. The New York City Police Department worked with the FBI when they attacked the Panther 21. The New York City Police Department worked with the FBI when they killed Malcolm X. The New York Police Department worked with the FBI when they attacked Marcus Garvey. And so what we are saying is that we're making this struggle even bigger, and we're taking it right into their institutions and say, these are institutions that you claim represent democracy. So we want the democratic right. We want you to pass this resolution saying that Black people have the right to speak our thoughts and to organize for our freedom. So I just want to thank everybody for being here. I'm hoping that we can be extraordinarily active, carrying out the mission that was defined for us just now. This attack by the institutions is a form of sanctioning the same thing they're doing to Zimbabwe, the same thing they're starving the resources in Venezuela and Iran and various other places around the world, taking the people's own money. This is their money. So this is part of the struggle. But the thing is that the oppressors existing on this shrinking island. And even though they live on an island and they see what they think is the whole world, it's not the world. That island is shrinking every day, and more people are abandoning this relationship with them. And I really appreciate the fact that people here have joined them. Thank you, Comrade Chairwoman Mwezi. Thank everybody who's participating in this campaign. Let's go ahead and forward this struggle because we can win. We are winning. Uhuru.
Uhuru, Chairman. Yes, Uhuru, comrades. I just want to appreciate you, Chairman. And while I'm talking, if any of our panelists want to come on screen, we can take a screenshot of ending call. I already see Comrade Sister Lisa Davis is on, but I just want to appreciate you, Chairman, for that overview, for that closing, for just your relentless struggle for leading this fight back. We will win, as you say, Chairman. And there were some questions in the chat. I just want to say briefly, some questions that we were unable to answer, some very important questions that we will answer. So we want to appreciate those questions as well. And I see the comrades on the ground in St. Louis. So let's go ahead and just close this out. There we go. We got an angle shot with Hands Off Uhuru. Oh,
is Matula still on?
Oh, is he? Okay, let me see.
I'm asking. I don't know.
I don't know. That's a good question.
Oh, we don't see it.
Matula, if you are on, no, maybe not at this point.
All right.
Thank you for being here nonetheless. And yes, so Hands Off Uhuru. Hands Off Uhuru. Uhuru.